tagged me as like independent journalism on the thing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cancelled. And I'm here with Monique from Independent Journalist. You might look at a familiar face and remember her from a lot of things she did throughout the Freedom Convoy. Me and her have always shared the same stance where we did it for protecting our children. We fought for the future of generations. She's one of my favorite people in the Freedom Convoy. I've worked with her for the last few years. I met her in the Freedom Convoy, and we always shared the same views on protecting children. And that's why I want her on the show today, because we have lots to talk about. We have lots going on. She's one of the, you're not a founder, but you are a promoter of the Save Our Children a foundation, or is it just a group?
Yeah, so it's just a group. So Scotty, the kid, is the one who really, spearheaded this and is, I wouldn't say organizer, because this has been a really organic thing, but started to promote it, and then it just kind of had this ripple effect that snowballed. So
Scotty's awesome. I've been following him for a while. So when he gets behind something, and it's a hard thing not to get behind, who doesn't want to get to the bottom of all this abuse? And it's not just our country, it's in every country, and it's happening all over the world. And so is this protest that we're about to do on March 7th, right? So I got your back. I'm coming. I'm coming out to help you guys. I've not the first time we've worked together. We've faced the school boards. You were there. You were a big part of that as well. You were one of the first fundraisers after we came back from Ottawa. And that's where I think I sang there with you guys. You guys wanted me to sing the Freedom song, and we were raising money for one of the truckers. I can't remember who at the at the time it was, or a bunch of people we were raising money for.
Yeah, yes. So I think you are referring to the event that we did at Neek in Hamilton.
That's
So
it.
that was a restaurant that was slapped with so many um, fines for, not abiding by the mandates of
No, I
presenting your
remember. I
papers.
remember.
And so they kept their doors open. And it was just such a safe haven for those of us who were struggling, just mentally in isolation. And you could go there and everybody's face was revealed, no masks,
Yeah.
smiling. The music was always like just feel good music. And he was someone in my life that really helped me get through. So when I learned about what he was going through, I really wanted to help him and raise money for him.
And you were going through a lot at the time too. Your story that you were separated from your two daughters, and I believe they were in Australia, if I remember the story correctly.
Yep.
And then, of course, there was the government interfering in people's travel. You couldn't travel without, of course, the vaccine. And people that really cared about their body, they weren't taking it. They weren't doing an experiment. And you guys were obviously the same. We had the same mindset as that. We're not taking this vaccine, so that separated you and your family. But I hear that no, that's all passed, and you have another member invited, or not invited, but into the family now, a little baby.
I
right?
do.
Awesome, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it wasn't just you and me. There were millions of us that had that mindset that we did not want to, inject ourselves with something that had been rushed through safety protocols, right? And there just wasn't enough evidence of its safety and efficacy. And we had every right to govern over our own bodies
and our children's.
and our children's.
Yeah.
And the government, there was a lot of government overreach and forcing people to take an experiment which hadn't been properly tested, was just a criminal. It was crimes against humanity, right?
Oh.
People were losing their jobs. Doctors were losing their licenses for speaking out. Nurses were losing their licenses.
You were losing.
I lost.
You were losing your job.
Yeah.
Right? We all got hit. Anyone that went against the government. I mean, that was the end battle. I found this is on, right?
Yeah.
So you had you lost your job, right? Did you not, for speaking out? Because you had a large page on Instagram. You had, you were up to a couple 100,000 followers you had right off the bat.
I was close to that. Yeah. And that page was,
and that was independent journalist. It was
independent _journalism _ basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and that was on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many pages have they taken away from you? How many times have you been canceled?
Just once.
Just once?
Surprisingly. Yeah. Just once.
Well, we've got lots of time yet, right?
Yeah. But heavily censored and shadow banned, and just can never grow from this number. And it's so funny when you look at like the the charts,
analytics.
Yeah, the analytics. It's just like it's crazy up and down. So they'll you'll get followers and then they remove followers. And I've had people say like, "Why did you delete me?" And it's like, I did not take, I didn't delete you.
I got deleted. That's what I tell you. Like, well, you don't follow me anymore. I'm like, no, that page got taken away from the government. Right? I said too much.
Yeah. So it's been a rough journey, but I don't regret any of it.
And you took a small break too, right? So I think after the Freedom Convoy, and people were really exhausted after. Like, I mean, you went full blast after Ottawa got shut down. So did I. I was going everywhere, saying all you could, just trying to talk to people, and it basically takes over your life for a little bit. And I have children, and so do you. And I found that everyone took a little break after a while because there's a lot of fighting happening between any type of movement. Someone's different opinion. Somebody gets a lot of followers. They have a huge ego, and it seemed like we couldn't hold together. Everyone found something else to fight against rather than fight against the government.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with the movement that we're getting behind with Scotty and you and all the thousands of other people, millions of other people. It's going to be all over North America.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not want to get to the bottom of why there's massive amounts of human trafficking? And it's happening everywhere. And people are like, oh, I haven't seen it happen. Well, it's literally happening in our backyards. I live in a small community. People know where I live. My town has 400 people. And you'll know the story. Robert Land Academy is not too far from me. And there's been hundreds upon hundreds of charges laid there. And it's been you can't talk about it because there's a what do you call public
So there is a publication
publication
ban against like one case that's coming up
And
against one of the teachers.
And there's like 100 victims. I heard there's tons of victims where they can't talk about it. I
Oh.
know some people personally, like this is happening. This happened for how many years?
Almost half a century.
Half a century in my backyard, and I live in a small community, and I
Yeah.
live in a little town in Canada.
Yeah.
With and people say it's not. You just have to open up your eyes, and maybe that's the thing. We've been blind to this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled it up on the screen here. Maybe you can give a little bit of background about exactly what the Robert Land Academy was initially, and then why it's closed.
Yeah, for sure. So Robert Land Academy was a school, a military style school for troubled boys. So they there is a lot of vulnerable children that walked through these doors. And that's, I think, one of the saddest parts about this, because the abuse that occurred in this school is one of the ugliest stories that I've heard that's happened in Canada. And, this is kind of personal to me because my cousin attended this school back in 2000. So
I went to school with Bowen, the founder of it, Scott Bowen. I went to school with his kids. That's how close this is to my home. I see his name right there. That's who I was asking who the founder was. I know that family. I played rugby with those boys.
So why didn't his kids go to that school?
They did. Eventually went to Beamsville for a couple of years, and then they went out there. So they went for their couple final years.
Yeah, Scott Bowman is saying
Yeah.
Scott Bowman.
Well, yeah. So that was their father. I went to school with the kids. They were local from Beamsville. And that's how close it is to me. And people say it's not happening. And I'm not sure what the numbers are, but over 100 kids from this school have taken their own life, correct?
over 100.
Over
Yeah.
100 children from my local area have taken their life after attending this school that the government has hidden this story.
Mhm.
And this, like I said, it doesn't happen. It happens everywhere. And it's sickening. Like a small little community like this. And it's finally just getting out there after 50 years.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
wild. It's insane.
It's horrific. And there are government officials that are involved with the
Yep.
school.
Politicians as well.
Yep. So the one thing that is really alarming about this is in Canada, we actually don't have to do background checks for private schools, criminal background checks for private schools. So a lot of these teachers were actually convicted criminals that were with these
Public
boys.
sector check is
Wow.
simple. I do youth for the kids at the church. Like something you have to do if you have an activity, if you play in coach the kids, well, you got to go to the police station, get a check.
Mhm.
That's insane that they don't allow that.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a design that way.
And many of the teachers who taught at this school are now teaching out in Fort Erie.
Right.
So
Now, have there been any charges for, like you said, there's a court case happening now?
there's a bunch of lawsuits happening now. This case coming up on March 18th is really important. So it is one of the abusers, and that's going to be at the St. Catharines Courthouse, March 18th, 10 a.m. courtroom 6.
And what's the charges? Like, can you say the person's name that's being charged? Is that out in public?
I don't want to say too much, just because I'm there's things you can't really talk about with this case.
Publication bans, right?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was out in public, like the person's name or what happened. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find out if you go down there. I mean,
March 18th?
we were just doing a live with Stefano, Mark. Remember those two gentlemen that was on the live with after
Yes.
our show? That he's heavily involved with it. He's a survivor.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have him and talk about what he went through.
He speaks at the end of that video.
Okay.
Great guy.
So if people want to get an understanding, like full understanding, the full scope of the story, that's the video you want to direct them to. It sums it up. And
This kind of reminds me of that documentary on Netflix. I think it was called, what was it called? The Program. Have you seen that? You should look that up. I mean, I don't know what went on at this school, but I imagine there's some parallels, because what happened in the program is this girl that went through the program, she became sort of a journalist, and then she goes on to not recruit, but she reaches out to a bunch of people that went there. They started a little bit of a group, and then they went back to the school, and they had it shut down, and like there's a whole beautiful documentary about it. And it's sort of them coming to terms with all the things that happened and moving forward. But they go back and they talk to some of the faculty that were actually the ones doing all this stuff. And some of them are obviously regretful, and then there's others that are just like, well, I was doing my job, and they just can't accept responsibility for their actions. But it's called The Program. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. It's on Netflix, and it sounds a lot like what you're talking about here.
I will. Thank you. I mean, I can speak to some of the abuses that occurred. So these children, as young as 9 years old, were beaten. They were forced to run around with like 45-pound knapsacks for hours. They, forced to eat laundry detergent, forced to dig holes and then lie in them. Several of these boys tried to escape this school. They would be returned by the police. 2 boys did escape and would have been right around this area, Josh, where they laid on the railroad tracks. I think they were about 14, 15 years old and were killed. And it's really sad because one of the boys' brothers who was killed, who committed suicide, his parents sent him to the school after this incident. So he was treated horribly in the school. And, his brother's name was on a bench in the school. And basically the teachers would say, like, this is what happens when you disobey, like it was just disgusting. But yeah, so over 100 of these kids who attended this school who, obviously traumatized kids become traumatized adults, committed suicide or overdosed. Yeah.
Oh, it's common with the abuse on a child that they run to abuse of drugs or suicide, right? I mean, we had Bam Bam, great man, one of my heroes, because he stands what he's been through. And we heard his story, and it's heartbreaking when that's his father, and there's 6 children abused. So there's a bunch of different people getting involved in the same movement, and some people have totally different opinions. And like we're running into groups that we have second sons out there that are like like a nationalist group, but there's you have Hell's Angels coming down for the like it seems like everyone, doesn't matter what organization you're in, there's that one line where it's like children matter, right?
Yeah.
So
100%, Josh. I think that's something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
That we need to protect the children. And it is my hope that because people are actually waking up to what is happening to children, and many of us have been awake to it, but now with the exposure, with the Epstein files, it is my hope that we can finally come together and, unite over this very, very important crime that is happening against our children. This is all of our children. These children are our children, and we
every
need to protect
government's
them.
been involved with this. It's not like it's the whole thing. It's just been happening for 75 or however long years. It almost seems like it's been happening forever.
Mhm.
And these governments, they're aware of it. You can't, like you heard Bill Clinton talking the other day. I had no idea that Jeffrey Epstein, I would have arrested him right there and then. Like, how do you hang out with a guy, invite him to a wedding, you're not knowing he's like the biggest dealer for this sex trade, and like it's so false. And everyone's like, yeah, Bill would never lie. And then they cut back to 1991 where he's got Monica Lewinsky underneath his desk. Like,
yeah, that was 91.
I'm just throwing it out there.
No way.
Had to have been 91.
No.
Okay, Bill Clinton,
it was
91.
in the mid 90s for sure.
91. I'm gonna go with 91, 95, 91. What do you guess? Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal.
It was a while ago. 97.
I would say 94, 95.
What was it? I did not inhale. He was always smoking dope too.
Let me see here. Where is it?
Yeah, well, that's what politicians do, right? They lie. So
yeah, and there's no accountability. So like, the next guy's going to do well. Like, no, he's not. He doesn't have to.
Their sexual relationship began in 1995 when Clinton was 49 and Lewinsky was 22. And it lasted for 18 months until about 97 when he went on before he went on the TV. He's like, I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
And then he found out he did. And then I did not inhale. Was that him or George Bush? Like that. And everyone just loves these politicians. Like, oh no, man, he's a good guy. He's a good pedophile, right?
Yeah. And then I think he was on the flight logs with 27 times or something to the island. And then his wife was like, going on about how she hardly knew the guy. And they were just doing philanthropy work. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Philanthropy.
Yeah, just complete BS. And we continue to believe these politicians.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Well, Carney is in the papers, mentioned in the papers 69 times. And then there's that photo of Carney, his wife, and Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's from 2013. Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 of luring a child. So at that point, when they were, shoulder to shoulder with Ghislaine Maxwell, they were well aware of the conviction that Jeffrey Epstein had. So, we need to be able to ask questions and get some answers. And I'm not saying, they're automatically guilty by association. However, why are they not talking about it? Well, if you're innocent, then speak, right? Trudeau's in there. Trump's in there. Clinton's in there.
They're all in there.
They're all in there.
Yeah, they're all in
right.
there.
So we really have to, hold these people to account. They work for us, and we've got questions. And I think people are just like, the veil's been lifted and all of this exposure is happening and people are just freaking out. Right. So,
well, I think the redactions is a complete misstep as far as whoever's decision. I'm assuming Trump, or whoever else was in power with him decided not, to redact it. But I think that's a huge misstep because you're protecting the people that are perpetrating these crimes. And you know what I mean? There's when did the victims get redemption?
So but it's happening on a small scale too. Like we go to Niagara Falls and I do the Bam Bam's backup, and we go put human traffickers on notice, and these guys are let back out. They literally are part of a trafficking ring, and they get let back out. And if you've watched some of their stuff, there's a guy's house is here in that vicinity, and they turn around and there's a park where children are playing. This guy's let back into public for being in jail for maybe a couple of weeks or whatever. They get him booked in, and then they put him right back in the streets. It's crazy. They're conditioning us to think it's okay. Oh, just a trafficker, no biggie, right?
Yeah, and you guys are doing this because the National the National Sex Offender Registry is not made public. So that's another huge problem, right? Like they're protecting these criminals, these pedophiles, and we really need to be protecting children, right? So this is just insane. And I think a lot of this problem is because people are just simply not aware of, what is going on, the amount of predators that are put back into neighborhoods that are released on bail, that the reoffend rate is 1 in 4, right?
Well, they catch them. I mean, the 1 in 4 they get caught again. And it doesn't say they never get caught, right? I mean, there's probably they're good at what they do. They're trying to conceal everything. So I mean, I know there's 1 in 4 they get caught, but I'm sure these people always reoffend if they have the opportunity. That's my opinion, but I'm sure that someone that does that to a child, if you give them an opportunity and he has an opportunity, like there's a park or he can get back out and access, he'll do it again. It seems like
a little odd that somebody would do that only once. Like, you know what I mean? Like once, like, I tried it, but I didn't like it. Like, you know what I mean? That just seems like an impulse that is so beyond crazy.
You're wired wrong.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I would think that
you're evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I don't think there's a cure for that.
Well, there is. Remember I talked about that. It's called penicillin, right? It's just one shot. You get a couple boosters if you need them. I'm working on it. It's not out yet, right?
Yeah.
So what's the plan for this march? Obviously you got involved for all the right reasons, but maybe you can talk a little bit about it and what the plan is for that. I know that we're going to the one in Toronto, but they're happening everywhere, right?
Yeah. Well, so all across the US, there's about 30 states and over 80 cities now across the US. In Canada, as far as I know, there's one in St. Catharines and then the one that we're doing in Toronto. And I think there's other organizations that are kind of like, again, this is
doing their own thing on the same day too.
So people are just, and the more exposure, the better.
Yeah, Bam Bam's doing his own on Saturday. He's out in Niagara Falls, and he usually does his thing on Saturday. So I've seen that they're like everyone's for it, right? So everyone's jumping in. I didn't know there was one in St. Catharines. You dragging me to Toronto?
Sorry.
All right.
There's actually one in St. Catharines?
Yeah, there is one. It just got launched.
Oh, no way. Whereabouts is that one going to be?
So if you go to my Instagram, or Scotty will have it, I think, on there. Maybe not. If you go to moms.resist,
the website?
Instagram.
Oh, okay. Where's the search on this thing?
Mark's first day on a computer over here.
Well, I'm trying to do it on a different thing here. Okay.
There are flyers there. I think I don't want to say the wrong address.
Moms Resist.
Moms.resist. Yeah.
Moms.resist.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
on
St.
Instagram.
Catharines. Okay. I'm going to pull that up here on this so people can see it.
Because my cards right, I can make Toronto and make it back home for 3 in St. Catharines, right? But
Church Street, 12 to 3.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Awesome.
That's good to know.
Well, so if anyone's watching at home, they're happening all over. So like, go out and just get out and make a stink about this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying to go throw eggs at people. We'll go and put signs up. This is cause awareness. Like, if the least you could do.
Yeah.
At least you could do.
Yeah. So I've been on a couple of calls with organizers out in the USA. So this is to end child exploitation and child trafficking.
Non-political, right?
Non-political.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Completely non-political. So, you know, this is what the messaging is, and this is why we are taking to the streets. So I'm really excited to just be a part of this. I think this is such an important thing, and I also momsresist.ca, the reason we created that obviously was during COVID times, but now a lot of people are saying, oh, what is protesting going to do? Like, what does it actually do? And it does create awareness, and it can put pressure on policymakers if there's enough people. But I do agree that there needs to be purposeful steps taken after protests. And that's why we've got the website up, and we've got some things that we're working on with other organizations, such as, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but there is really strict rules around the Amber Alert system. So the certain criteria has to be met in order for an Amber Alert to be released.
Okay.
And so many of our missing children aren't, put on that system, and there's a ton of missing children. There's one woman, her name is Shayna. She runs a grassroots organization called Find Ontario's Missing Boys and Girls, but she puts a lot of the photos of the missing children on her page, and none of these children have ever had an Amber Alert done for them. So laws, that's on our website. So minimum penalties for child exploitation in this country is absolutely atrocious. Again, this needs to be made public, and people need to be made aware of this, because I think that they simply just don't know, because if they did know, they'd be infuriated, right?
You'd hope so, yeah.
Yeah. So child exploitation, I think, is a minimum of 90 days.
That's crazy.
Sexual abuse against a child, minimum 1 year. Human trafficking of a child, minimum 5 years. Okay. So this is disgusting. We have our own version of Jeffrey Epstein in Canada. Peter Nygaard had an island in the Bahamas, trafficked children. He even hired somebody to sexually abuse his own children.
He's a creepy dude too. He just looks creepy.
Show me a picture of this.
Isn't he the one I saw a video, and they were talking to a bunch of women at a table about getting their placenta and their.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, he looks like almost like a warlock. Like
I know.
Like a baseball glove with hair.
He looks like the new version of Jim Carrey, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that? I think Jim Carrey's dead, guys.
I don't think
off topic, but yeah, there he is.
This guy here.
Looks like Bob
Monster. Now, guess how many years this man is going to serve for his crimes against children?
Probably 3, 4.
Yeah, 11.
Okay.
11 years, right? So
full term. He's gonna get out.
He can get out
halfway house in 5 or 6 years. Because in Canada, you can, if they condone it non-violent. That's why I've heard this from some of my friends that have done stints before. But non-violent child rape can be considered non-violent if it's just a molestation, and they can be let out because it's just non-violent crime. So people are getting let early because they molest a child and it's non-violent. So how is
that's pretty violent?
Well, yes, it's crazy though, but that's how our system works. So that we've catered to pedophiles for this long. That's why when the Epstein files are coming out, no one's really, we don't catch those kind of people. There's allowed to, it's everywhere. It's insane.
Well, look at Bam Bam's father after impregnating his sister, and abuse. I think he said for like ongoing for 10 years.
10 years,
He got 18 months and was out in 9 or something crazy.
Because they had to sleep on the floor in the penitentiary, and they gave him 3 for 1 days. But then even if he did full sentence, it was only going to be 2 to 3 years, destroying 6 people's lives.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It's devastating. And you know what Bam Bam is doing, I think, is just incredible. You know, and you know, he's a survivor, and he's obviously got skin in the game.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So
yeah, he's a real remarkable human being.
Yeah. You know, I just like I've seen videos of you guys going out there and warning, you know, the communities, and you shouldn't have it's ridiculous that you should be that you have to do this. That's why the you know, registry should be made public, right? We should know where these people are living. We need to protect children, not predators. These, you know, lax penalties, it's insane. Like it's on momsresist.ca, our website. You can see all the minimum penalties. If you scroll down just a bit more, right there, that chart.
Okay.
Those are the minimum penalties. So I can't read that from here.
So we've got incest against a person under 16 years of age, and there's the criminal code, and it's 5 years. That's on. I think that says. What does that say? On indictment. Bestiality, 1 year. Eesh. The third one here is providing sexually explicit material to a child.
So that's what we want to get these
90
school boards
days.
on, right? The school, that's the charge. So you give a kid access to porn.
Yeah.
Internet luring is 1 year. Exposure, 90 days. And again, they probably won't even serve this, right? So
no, they'll go to jail. They'll see what they'll go for a month, and they'll be out because they had to stay on. It's 3 for 1 days, and but it was poor living conditions. Well, it should be. You're in goddamn prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, another thing that we are trying to work on is, first of all, awareness, right? Like, knowledge is power. And then once we get this information out to the public, and hopefully, you know, our protests will, we're going to be handing out flyers. We're going to be providing information. We're going to have signs to the website, that sort of thing. But, you know, we want stricter penalties for these criminals, these child predators. They should be met with the harshest punishments, right?
I'm a firm believer that capital punishment is one way. And I mean, it's not legal in Canada, but they do it in the States. And I mean, I've seen some states, if they don't do capital punishment, they're castrating these people. They're losing their genitals.
Yeah.
They're cutting them off.
China has capital punishment.
Cut their hands off. I mean, I don't know what the point of having this person around for. Like, it's like, if a dog bites a kid, what do we do with it? We put it down, and we're not there anymore. It just seems like I don't understand how that's not a law. Like, I could understand that's one thing. It's a harsh punishment, but that's necessary for the harshest crime. So you're robbing the most innocent. Like, we have someone doing that to a baby, and the baby. Oh, don't worry, the baby had reconstructive surgery and blah blah blah. It's fine, and then that person will do. We'll say he'll get 4 or 5 years, and then he'll get all these different special terms. We have to feed him, house him, and then he gets out. And then when he gets out, guess what? He's probably going to be on some type of government assistance because he can't find a job because he's done that to a child and he needs to live on. So he's becoming a permanent. Tax dollars going towards this to house this, to have an animal, monster, to house a monster. I don't see it in this poor child. Whatever they've done the damage to. There's nothing for them. So this guy gets to live in jail. And I don't know if you're familiar with how much it costs to keep a person in jail. It's roughly around $100,000 to $120,000 a year of tax dollars. Money goes into housing each prisoner. That's minimum. So imagine putting that kind of funding into the child, the future that had these horrific crimes. And imagine we actually turn the tables. We get rid of the problem because we know the problem is you do that to the child. So we get rid of that. So we don't have to put any more funds into that person's life. And the 10 years we put that thing in jail would cost us $1 million. Imagine putting $1 million into that kid and making it a human again, that he could live properly. And we imagine we had that kind of system in where the children came first, but instead we feed, we give lawyers, we give housing, and we defend these people, the worst human beings. Yeah. And then that's where I stand. I'm like, I don't even want them in society at this point.
Oh, I agree with you, Josh. And, you know, we do have a program that does euthanize Canadians.
Yes, for people that can't afford their bills.
You know, medical assistance in dying that's being offered to veterans that, they just
Depressed people.
killed a 26-year-old by the name of Keanu, who had diabetes and, suffered from depression. Wasn't terminally ill, wasn't in any physical pain. He was partially blind, but they just euthanized him. That was their solution for this young boy. And his mom had to get the phone call where she had no idea her son was doing this.
That's
And how old was he?
He was 26. He had tried. So I actually spoke to a very dear friend of his mom's, and I have talked to his mom a bit too. But he tried to do this back in when he was about 22, 23, I want to say. There was a Toronto doctor that had approved it, and she happened to find the email on his laptop and saw what this, that he was doing this, and she put so much pressure on him, and she got the story exposed, and he then backed out of it. He refused, but then Keanu ended up finding a loophole and finding a doctor out in Vancouver, Ellen Wiebe, who has euthanized many people. There was actually a judge who ordered her not
almost,
to.
Right? Like, these are just insane.
Like, this is where it's like, how upside down and backwards is this world, right? Like, the things that like are most vulnerable are mentally ill. The solution we're providing for them is euthanasia.
Mm-hmm.
Our children, the ones that should be protected the most, we're failing them. We're miserably failing them. And then the worst scum of this planet, the most evil people on this earth, we're protecting them.
It's insane. It's literally saying insane world. It's like, I mean, I'm trying to explain to some people, they don't get it. Like, you don't understand. Like, now they're like you said, the Epstein files are like, because people watch the mainstream media, right? Like, I can argue all day online and try to show my opinion about how evil this world is, but people can't really see it because I'm just me. But once the news started saying it, and it's finally a topic that's, I've been saying this for a long time. I mean, my father, when I was growing up, he was against the Catholic Church because he's like, we're not doing that church because this is a horrible reputation. I'm not sending you to church. That's one of the reasons why I didn't do church when I was younger, because the reputation my dad knew. And he's like, they just let these stories go. There'd be, this priest got 20 boys in this town and they just pack them up. And this has been going on. I don't want to say since the beginning of time, but it feels like, I mean, I haven't been here this long. I've only been here for 44 years, but it's kind of the history showing that there's a dark part of this world that partakes in these activities.
Yeah.
And I think it's in all facets. It's not just like, obviously the Catholic Church there's some well-known cases of it, but like, look at the police officer that was just arrested with Hamilton or whatever his name was.
It's like a power figure. Anytime someone gets in a certain type of power, I mean,
it happens. Yeah, I agree. But it happens with all, it seems like, no matter what you do in life, there's, you could find little pockets of these people all over the place. It's just crazy.
Evil exists everywhere.
Yeah,
it really does. I went to a Catholic school, and my parents weren't like devout Catholics or anything like that. They just wanted me to go to a Catholic school. And I remember having to go into a little dark room with a priest and sitting across from him and saying, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And 12 years old, it's just, it's not right, and then you have the Vatican that, has so much real estate and money and power. And, I'm probably going to get backlash for saying this, but, you get the Pope and out there saying, let's stop the wars, let's feed the children.
Gold crown on.
And I'm walking through the Vatican with like tapestries and statues and artwork that probably worth millions of dollars. And then you step outside and there's homeless people.
Oh yeah.
All over. Like, just there's and there's very dark stories of child abuse.
Well, the Vatican's has been infiltrated by Satan.
Yeah.
And if you've seen, like, I think it was 1971, they did the new chapel, which is literally a serpent's head. And then they have a picture of a crucifixion of Christ, but if it looks like he's being obliterated by like a nuclear explosion. And if you look at it the right way, his actual Christ's head looks like a serpent. Like, they really demonic. I mean, I don't care what anyone says, it's a demonic the head of the Catholic Church has gone full demonic, and you can see it in their architecture of their buildings, right?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, so I guess growing up the way that I did, I have a hard time with like organized religion,
Well,
right?
fair
Like
enough,
it's like
right?
I'm spiritual and I believe in God and good versus evil. And I think this is what we are in right now. We are in a spiritual battle between good and evil, and the evil is being exposed, and it's the good, the good people of this world, like Scotty and all of these people that are taking a stand, for the children. And I think with the release of the Epstein files and the anger and the sadness and the frustration, it just, ignited a flame in people. And, the US is just, it's so beautiful to see what they're doing. And I really hope that this ignites a flame, just across the entire world, because this is the things that are being done to children are just horrific, absolutely horrific. 138 million in child slave labor globally.
Like the cobalt is one of them. Our cell phones, our electric cars. It's like there's 40 something thousand just in that industry alone, and no one says anything, right? We go on our phones to say, let's save the kids. It's crazy that that's how big this is, right? Like they're all involved. These billionaires, it's something they do. They don't care for human life.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, it seems like there's corruption in everything right now. It's just all coming to light at once. Like all the fraud with Medicaid and Medicare and, these, what do you call them? The, in Minnesota there, all the daycares. I was just listening to, Robert Kennedy Jr. today talking about there's a whole bunch of new things that are coming out about corruption, and a lot of having to do with Medicaid and Russia and Cuba. They're using hospices to funnel money through them, and like it's nuts, like the stuff that they're about to release. But I just feel like today, like these days, it just feels like it's just like a dark cloud over your head, like over my head. At least that's how I feel. Like just, you can't even. I don't even want to look at my phone, because every time you turn it on, there's something horrible happening, like bombs being dropped, babies dying, like Epstein files. It's just like I just want like a few days where like people are happy and like hugging each other and working together instead of working against each other. It just seems like everyone's just mad at everyone.
End times, buddy. It's end times. I swear to goodness, it's end times. I feel like it is anyways, right? Like this world ain't getting any better. Like, was it like Sodom and Gomorrah, or they blows it all up? Like I'm waiting for that. Like just let it rip. Yeah. This is getting pretty bad out here.
Right? It's terrible.
God, where are you now? Drop that bomb. Let's just get it over with. Take me out too. Right?
Yeah, we really, God, we definitely need God now. So
yeah,
it's a horribly dark time, right? And but as I was saying to you earlier, Josh, this has to happen, right? Like, because the dark has been hidden for so long, that it needs to come to light. It needs to be exposed in order for us to, combat it, right? So, and I think this really is the time when we now have, the truth is undeniable. We know what the horrific things that have been done to children and that are being done to children. This is the time that we come together and unite on this planet for these children. So
I was like, for the last few years, I found myself frustrated, like waiting for this, this time. So people are involved and it's out, right? But like say 3 or 4 years ago, I was very upset about the curriculums and what they're teaching kids. And I was like, I go to a protest. I would go to a drag show story time for kids, and it would be like a handful of people upset, and you'd be met with 85 to 100 people opposing your opinion. And I'm like, I grew up in this town, and like nobody cares that there's a guy in lingerie wanting to dance for kids.
Well, I think at that time was a little bit different because the Democrats were in power, and the whole LGBT thing was like a big fad, and you had to respect them. And, it was a big whole thing. I think that's shifting now, that people are realizing that there's also like an underlying thing happening there. Like you don't need drag is fine. Like I have no problem with it. If you're an adult and you want to go see drag, I don't know. I've never been.
Do you like drag? Okay. We got that. Mark getting busted.
No, honestly, like I have no issue with things like that. If you're an adult and you want to willingly go and partake. but bringing kids to that and making that, like, there's just no need for it.
And it was like
there's
white
really
single
just no
women.
need for it.
Like
It's just, yeah, exactly.
Every time you went there, it was like
soccer moms.
Some soccer mom,
Yeah.
like she wasn't married, she's angry at everything, and I would just like, what? I for me, that's what frustrated me a lot. I'm like, how is anyone not seeing this? But I was like, I think I was like, you know, ahead of the party. I was the first one to the party, right? Like this. I was watching Oprah Winfrey 10 years ago normalize pedophilia on her show, and everyone's like, "Oh, Oprah's great. She's giving away cars and you're giving away baby foreskin lipstick." And she really was. Her lipstick is made of baby's foreskin, and she brags about it. And I'm like, no one thinks this is weird. Like, man, you're tripping, Josh. Right?
But at the time, you were doing all those protests and going there on your own and walking into the library. You didn't care because that's like, you just stood up for the kids and you're like, you know what, whatever happens to me, it happens to me. You're like, I don't give a shit. I'm doing it for them. And a lot of other people don't think like you because like, well, my job's online. If I walk into that library, I'm going to lose my job going against. I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
so
you can have it.
It's
right?
you're kind of like almost like a Superman because they couldn't cancel you. Like they tried.
They tried. Right?
But like if everyone had the same mentality as you, where it's like, whatever will be, and I'm going to do this no matter what and suffer the consequences. You know, I think that things would have been different the past 4 years, right?
I'm hoping that St. Peter gets all the hard work I did against that. And like, you know, I've done a lot of bad stuff when I was younger, but like maybe all the defending of the kids might get me in the good spot at the end of the day, the end of the end days. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Get to go to heaven.
Yeah. No,
maybe not though.
For sure. I know, crazy times. Well, and you know, if you read through like those minimum penalties under the criminal code section 171.1, it is illegal to provide sexually explicit content or material to a minor, right? And this is being done inside the schools. So there's a little bit of a gray area because if it's provided to them for educational purposes, then you know, they're kind of exempt, right, from this law. However, that being said, if a parent does find sexually explicit content that's been given to their child, you know, they can reach out to the principal and school board trustees and ask if it is part of the curriculum. And then depending on the answer, they can go from there.
Yeah.
So like we would go to the Pride in the Park here in Niagara. But if everyone knows it's not happening anymore, it doesn't seem to want to hang around our town.
It didn't happen last year. I don't know, but
no, it's been 2 years. Is it 2 years in a row? Is it 2 years now? Oh,
I don't know. Definitely one for sure.
But they were like gigantic portraits of like genitals and
they're selling art with like all these
everything you can imagine, and they're showing this to kids, and you're walking around this thing, and it's like TD Bank, CIBC, the police, the fire department, like everyone's in on, and they got their own little table where they're giving out like lollipops to kids. It became this convention for children. Your sexuality became a convention for children around the world, and nobody said anything. So like, I'm hoping that this is like the tide that like, because I lost a lot of like hope. I was like, and that was years ago. I lost hope, and now I'm like, something has to happen to like. If the world's going to change, you're going to need to see these really rich billionaires. They're going to be at war. You understand? Not dropping wars on Iran or dropping bombs on all these other countries. You want to change in the world, you got to start dropping bombs on billionaires. No, you do. That's what they.
So the problem is they have all the bombs. So
they're
not going to drop it on themselves. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if they made program, they will. Right?
Hook
them up with the MAID program in Canada.
Yeah. See, the problem, Josh, is that they're normalizing this sexualization, and then people are becoming desensitized to it. Like you saw the Balenciaga campaign where they had children holding bears with bondage and child trafficking notes on the table, and this book by this artist who paints children bloody naked in like it's like how is no one arrested for that? And so this is ways and just through pop culture and celebrities and Katy Perry with her song Bon Appetit, where she's basically being eaten by
I've seen that. That's crazy. I never I don't want to listen to new music because I think it's terrible. I like the old stuff. Give me Johnny Cash, whatever. But I've seen the Katy Perry one because she's kind of a topic in the Canadian limelight now because she's with dipshit. But
just a couple lesbians in love.
And watching that video where they're cannibalism. They're cannibalism.
Yeah, exactly. Right putting it right in your face.
And I made a post about Justin Bieber too. He's holding his baby, covering the baby's face with a little piece of pizza. Like these people, they're like, he started off as a sweet boy, must have got sold into this somehow, and he's part of it.
They all do.
They all either you're in it or you're out. Because if you're out, you're out.
Yeah. One of the people that I've had the honor of interviewing is Jimmy Levy. And yeah. So he was on American Idol, and he made it. I think he was in second place, but he was offered contracts, and we discussed a lot of things off the record. The interview was really, it was a short thing that we did, but the things that he told me about, what he has seen, and it's terrifying.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely terrifying. But yeah, so they're just trying to desensitize people, normalize this, sexualizing children, and this is just very, very scary thing.
Well, so remember, obviously this comes from the top down, right? So when our politicians and our police, the police had their vehicles, there was vehicles wrapped in pride stuff.
Yeah,
it's there, it comes from there, and people see that young kids who are you can mold them and shape them however you want as children. When they see that, it's okay, that is normal, right?
Yeah.
That is no, and it's not.
Well, in Niagara, they had the rainbow on their badges, so they were walking around. It was the police officers shouldn't have any other flag on them. I think the Canadian flag will do. They don't have a.
And I should preface that I have no qualms about people's sexuality. I don't give a shit what people do in their own time, who they're with, who they're in love with. By all means, feel free. But kids don't need to be introduced to that when they're young, and you know what I mean. Let them make their own decisions about their lives as they grow up.
Well, I'm a big fan of keeping sexuality out of public schools, and religion and politics. Maybe introduce grade 6 about hygiene, women, girls getting their periods, and but I don't even know. It's why are we letting some teacher talk to your kid about sex? He knows, he knows more than you. You made the kid. You had sex to have your own kid. You can't explain to your kid, hygiene, periods, sexual intercourse, pregnancy, anatomy,
right?
Anatomy. Instead of having so it kind of gives this weird doorway to this person that's now talking about sex with a child. I don't think public schools or schools should have it. I don't think it should be there.
Well, but that's exactly what you're fighting against, right? But it's just been flipped. Right. So then they make it seem like you're, not inclusive or, hateful. And I want to make this very clear. My brother is gay. I love my brother. We are very close. I have gay friends.
Same.
So and they don't.
I'm just kidding.
They don't agree with the sexualization of children either. And, they don't agree to be giving children's hormones and puberty blockers, make those decisions when you're an adult. That's fine.
Exactly.
But don't do that to children. So, again, and it breaks my heart because, I was down at that school board, York District School Board meeting, and we were there for a specific teacher, Paulo De Bueno, who was teaching his children, his grade 7 students, that the age of consent was 13. He was saying this, he was, giving them really just not appropriate material. And when we found out about this, and I had a couple of moms reach out to me, that's when we went down to the school board meeting because he was there. And, we were all out in the hallway yelling and screaming and, fire him. And
he did lose his job, didn't he?
Yeah. And then he did. 2 weeks later.
Awesome. Good job.
Yeah. So no, it was a huge win. It was a huge win for the children, right? Well,
there's wins happening everywhere now. You've seen them. I was watching something on the social media today about this doctors organization. I think it was in United Kingdom. And they did gender affirming care 10 years ago, but all these people are coming back with their MAME. They did the double mastectomy, and they I came in here as a confused kid with a temporary feeling inside of me, and you gave me forever change. So 10 years later they come back and they've destroyed themselves. So they're pressing charges. They're suing, and you're seeing it happen everywhere. Just imagine cutting off a part of your body and thinking that's okay, right? And giving you drugs and giving you, and this is to a child. And then UK has been, I think, they're one step ahead of Canada, or they've already done all this shit first, right? Really weird times that people will just take that in a child and push you into narcotics or drugs or, basically untested medication. And I saw that today, and I was actually, okay, You know, it's like in one big battle. It's like you never see any light at the end of the tunnel. But you're right, talking about there is the light has to, you have to reveal all this garbage in order to fight against it, because people didn't pay attention to it. I've been on to this for like 2 decades. You know, ever since I got out of high school, I started. You know, Hollywood's a bunch of creeps and politicians are a bunch of creeps, and just didn't. No one really believed you. Like, oh, conspiracy theory. I've been called a conspiracy theorist my whole life here, and
Yeah,
I'm glad to see it
yeah,
change.
for sure, right? Like there's very, very nefarious things happening. That and for example, just human trafficking and child trafficking, just to get like the accurate figures on it, it's because it's so underreported. It's hard to find those figures, right? Like experts say that like the numbers that we do have of about 27 million children worldwide, like that's just the tip of the iceberg. So, you know, because it's such a hidden criminal organization, right? Like these children are in underground areas, they're in like hidden hotels, like they're hidden. So they're not found, and God knows what
Well,
will end up happening to them, right?
and well,
So,
there's organizations that are actually like, well, they rape the girl, they have the baby, they keep these babies. They're undocumented people,
mm,
so they've been doing this for a long time. Where the kid doesn't go missing because the kid was born in these facilities. And I mean, you're not even know some of the numbers. It's staggering if what you figure out how big this really is. Like Epstein's not the only one. It was no that there's. I mean, these people here have like an addiction. It's not just one drug dealer. No, there's a lot of this. It's so big, and the clients are so wealthy. And the one guy said it best. I think it was on the Sound of Freedom. He goes, "You can sell the one drug, you can sell that once, but you can sell that child repeatedly." So and you think of it that like, wow, that's crazy. How that human life doesn't matter, but you know what matters most is making money. And I mean, I can't relate to that. I just could never. I'd rather be broke than if that's the way I would. It would never go that way. I would never think that way.
In one of the emails, there was that publicist. I can't remember her name. She's in hot water now. She was sent an email to Epstein about bringing babies back for him, and he's like, "Do you want a boy or a girl?" And she was in a third world country. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she was
Erica Kirk.
No. I'll have to Google her. I'll have to look her up.
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah,
we talked about it in one of our last. Anyways, it's just proof that these people are sourcing children from like third world countries that probably can't report or have no access to, finding out where their child went or what, you know what I mean? Or maybe they're willingly giving them up because they can't afford them or whatever.
Money,
it is, right? Yeah.
Would be the first time people have done that.
They wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if they have like baby farms somewhere where they're just making these women have babies and just paying them or keeping them happy or whatever. Or
well, that's what was happening. Was that in Reed Road in St. Catharines, Niagara on the Lake area? There's that
the two parents that were sending their children.
That's what they think was happening there. They were selling kids
selling their own children.
And the police were involved with that. They said there's so many little things. Like I live in a small area, and it's like if it's happening here, in a big scale, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, it was this girl, Peggy Siegel. She was
Siegel.
Siegel, yeah, she was a publicist that was trying to help Jeffrey Epstein clean up his image after his first.
That's a tough job.
Yeah, after his first, whatever you call it,
first charge, luring children, right? You were saying.
Yeah, and then he hired her to help her. She was like a film publicist that would help with like publicizing movies. So, anyways, so she just jumped right on board there.
We got to stop supporting Hollywood. Like don't go to see movies. Don't watch them. Shut it off. Like Netflix, it's just trash anyway. Stop supporting. That's one of the main purchasers of this is these people.
100%. Like close down your Netflix account. Stop listening to their music. Stop going to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Stop funding them because we're funding these systems. And I know it's hard. Like we can't all just leave the system. Because it's complicated, but there are steps, and I mean, I think we can survive without Netflix, right?
Oh yeah, I got rid of it a long time ago. I got rid of TV. We have a couple things for the kids in there, but I stopped watching TV in my early 20s. I'm not paying a couple $100 a month for this trash, right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely like I like during my awakening, I couldn't watch movies anymore. Like all of the celebrities I once like loved, I was just
Forrest
like, oh
Gump,
my
like,
gosh, really?
pedophile.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. I couldn't watch Forrest Gump. I used to love that movie, and like all the Tom Hanks stuff, and you know they're involved, right? And you like watch these videos of him with his daughter doing the beauty pageant. Very creepy, right? Even that beauty pageants are creepy. Let's bring that up. Like that was a thing in the 80s. You take your kid and put her in a bathing suit in front of a bunch of people. Like what a weird thing.
Yeah. This has been an evolution.
Yeah,
right?
what a weird thing that is.
Yeah.
And like Donald Trump he's a beauty pageant guy, isn't he? He did the like they're all, it's just a weird thing. Like the last thing I want to do is put my daughter in a bathing suit and track around a bunch of dudes. Right? Like,
well, that's like John Benet Ramsey, right? Remember that case of the little girl who was killed in her own home, right? I think she was in her own.
And no one ever gets busted, like a dead body, and they're like, don't worry about it. Like,
yeah, I don't even know if they ever, I think they had one guy on the hook for it, but then they released him. And I don't think that's ever been solved, that case, if I remember correctly.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
Neither the case in Portugal, actually, with the little girl.
Yeah.
That was never solved either. And
they were on vacation, right?
They were. And if you look at the photo of the suspect, looks identical to Ghislaine Maxwell. And apparently they were in that area at the time of her abduction.
Is that real? Yeah, that actually happened.
That was documentary was a long time ago, a couple of years ago, 5 or 6 years ago that came out. I remember seeing that. That was a crazy documentary.
There's also in Nova Scotia, Madeleine McCann was the one that you were mentioning in Portugal. But the one in Nova Scotia, those two kids, I think it's Nova Scotia, the two children that sort of allegedly walked out of their house, and they've never been seen again.
There's nothing else happened with that. I've never seen it. It was tabloids for like a week, and then they just went out to the woods. The parents went back to sleep, right? Kids were playing outside, and
there's a whole bunch of nonsense surrounding that. It's so crazy. Like they literally just vanished. These two children. It was a stepfather and the mother of the parents, and the police were there. They have no idea where these kids are. And this happened like a year ago.
And they haven't found any remains or anything.
No. Last I checked was like a week ago. For some reason, I just keep checking. This is like just to see what's going on with it.
So like, that's when this all started coming out. I remember probably about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I remember reading this small little newspaper I got up near Muskoka. It was like at a coffee shop, and it was just this little news article, and it was talking about, and I believe it was Deer Lake, one of these lakes, and it said there was a little girl in a red dress they found. Her body was washed. I mean, that's all you really heard about. I was like, who? Like, and they haven't. There's nobody. There's no missing child. So this is just kid just showed up in a 3-year-old in a red dress, dead in the water. And I just thought, and then after all this stuff comes out years later, like, oh, we're in Muskoka where it's all Hollywood people. Is this just what they just done with one of the farm children, they call them, or are they from the baby farms? Is that what they just did what they want with it and then leave it as like it's discarded trash? And I try to look up this article that I read in the small town paper, and I can never find anything about it. And that was 12 years ago, probably 12 to 13 years ago. I read this little thing in the paper, and that's all. It never got out of that small little town, wherever it happened up there. And it's like it literally happens everywhere. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So the two children I was referring to, it's Lily and Jack Sullivan. They disappeared they lived in like a rural area. And they haven't been found. They've literally, somebody drove past, must have just driven past and scooped them up or something. Because both of them, nothing. They like the police have been investigating since the day it happened, May 2nd, 2025.
Wow.
The two children reported missing from their home. RCMP has conducted extensive searches, reviewed 8,000 videos, and followed 1,000 tips. Pink blanket belonging to Lily was found in a tree about 1 kilometer from their home. Yeah, so a lot of the bizarre things when I first started watching this, I was like, the parents have to be guilty. Like seeing them being interviewed and stuff, you're just like, there's something up here, but apparently not. Apparently they haven't found anything. I think I don't know if they went to sleep. The parents went to sleep. I can't remember all the details.
In the morning, they went up and they went back to bed.
Yeah, and then the kids went out through the back door, the back screen door. Like I said, it's very rural.
Yeah, Nova Scotia,
a lot of property.
Yeah.
And so they thought maybe accidental drowning. They thought a whole bunch of things, but there's been zero sightings, zero anything. So who knows? But I just find it so hard to believe that this day and age, with all of the phones, with all of the surveillance, with like, how did they not have any proof of where these children went?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, this is one small drop in the bucket compared to the globe, right? You like that? Of what's actually happening,
The
right?
globe.
Yeah.
Well, look at what happened during COVID when, they like unleashed the fact checkers, right?
Oh,
During the pandemic. So they were taking down, anything they deemed misinformation, anything that didn't go with, anything that went against their narrative.
Yeah.
And, like it was just such this orchestrated, thing where like everything was being removed off of social media. And you're telling me that you can't have something like this for like online predators and, like there is so much out there on the internet
Yeah.
and it's pretty accessible.
Yeah. And we can't even post news articles without it being taken down. Like, you know what I mean?
we could say the wrong word on here that they would deem, you could
Okay,
say an
yeah.
inappropriate word here, and they
Yeah.
shut our live down. And I'd say 13 seconds. Wham, done.
Well, it's nuts because
Right.
the things that you were being taken down for have become fact. So like it's not subjective. Like it's not like when we were saying all these things about the vaccines and all this stuff, and Josh lost his page, multiple pages. Now, like you can't get those things back, right? Like we had like tons of videos, we had 80,000 followers. I mean, there was a couple of strikes, but all the things that we were getting in trouble for before, you can now say freely, and it's now completely fact.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone still uses these platforms. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Like we're all using this, like, oh, they won't do that again. Like we need to have like a platform that like is freedom of speech. It follows the rights of, you can say whatever you want, but there's repercussions to that.
Mhm.
But
Well,
they
X
use it
is-
under guidelines, right?
X is kind of like that. I mean, I think that's the only one really that is close.
Are we on X today?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're streaming
hey,
live on X.
Yeah, we're back on X. I tell people to use X more because Facebook's kicked me off, Instagram's kicked me off,
YouTube.
TikTok, YouTube. I've probably had millions of deleted followers over the last 10 years. But I mean, I'm going to do my best to start doing X more because it gives me that right. That,
Yeah.
the First Amendment, you'd say, that we
Mhm.
can allow to speak freely. I mean, we don't have that with Facebook.
Yeah. No.
Well,
I know
and
for
that
sure.
was part of the reason we've talked about this before on the podcast. But we started this podcast a couple of years ago. Probably what year was it? I don't even remember. We stopped doing it because our reach was just dwindled. Like we had Tamara on, we had Owen Schroyer from the War Room and Alex Jones's show, right? Excuse me. And then we were like, after that, we were like, there's nobody seeing this. So what's the point? So we literally just were like, well, I guess we'll just have to wait. And then shift in government, boom, we're back in the game, I guess.
They did that with our the comedy page, the roofing page. We'd get 1 to 2 million views per funny episode, made a couple of mask jokes and vaccine jokes, and you went from 2 million views an episode to 4.
Yeah, it was
right.
Like,
like it was like they just turned the volume.
Yeah, exactly.
Down,
You look
like,
at the analytics, and it's like this steady climb, and then it just drops
millions
off a cliff
to zero.
like
Oh,
literally.
I can show you. Yeah.
Yeah.
mine
Nobody's
too. It
seeing
looks
you,
the exact
right?
Same, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I've noticed since I've started talking about the like child trafficking, it's even worse now.
Yeah.
So yeah, just not getting out, right? So
yeah, well, we'll see what happens with this. I think the problem is with automation and AI and the algorithm, they see a word and they automatically squish it. It's like compressed, right? It's like boom, like somebody said pedophile, squash that down because they don't know if it's being used in a negative context or whatever, right?
They could figure it out. They're just doing it because Jeffrey's paying for it.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
Jeffrey's
sitting in his
paying off
island
Mark
somewhere.
Zuckerberg. Like, I'll get, it's sadly, but I honestly think that guy's still alive. I think that's how powerful Jeffrey Epstein
Wouldn't
is.
surprise me.
And Maxwell, we looked at her the other day. She looks like Mike Myers. Does not look like her in prison. That's not her. I don't think he's dead. You're worth that much. You owe that. People owe him favors, right? He's got everyone under lock and key with those videos he has. So he's doing whatever he wants. These people are more powerful than you think.
Well, 100%. Like they're extremely powerful, and this is it's scary because like you said earlier, this is like from the top down. So it's really hard to combat this because we got to do it from the bottom up.
The royal family.
Yeah.
Fighting the royal family here.
So
well, there's more citizens than there are politicians. So I think if everyone got together, like you see, it's pretty strong. Like look at the Iranian marches, right? All of them in the streets. There's hundreds of thousands of them, right? Like everybody should be doing that for the kids. There should be the streets. It should be overflown with people trying to like protect these children, right?
So we should March 7th. We should have everybody out there. If you're watching this and you're sitting at home, get off your ass, and go to your nearest protest and it'll be March 7th. That's worldwide, hopefully, right? So
Yep,
it's just
maybe-
not North America, but
Yeah.
Maybe we should hang around in St. Catharines and try and get a big crowd out here instead of going all the way to Toronto. We were going to go to Toronto, but now that there's one in St. Catharines, why should rally some people here? And,
I'll rally people here. I'll go to. I promise.
oh, you're still, yeah,
yeah.
Go?
But I'll definitely promote both, right?
Yeah.
Although I hate big cities and I hate Toronto. I'm like,
No, well, I mean,
I'm a country boy, right?
You go where you feel like you want to be, as long as you're just out there. That's what matters, right?
That's right. Yeah.
The only thing that matters is that we all get out there in solidarity for these children, right? So the world needs to see us. They need to see our outrage.
Yep. And on that note, let's show some of this stuff here. We've got, again, this is March 7th. This is the one in St. Catharines for people that are either just joining or didn't see this earlier. Most of them are 12 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where can people go to check out if there's one in their city or the closest city? Is there like a website that's just
Scotty,
like,
the kid's been posting I posted all the
right,
dates
but,
too.
But is there a website or somewhere that they can, that they can go and like sort of scroll like, oh, okay, there's one here, one here?
No, there isn't a website, but on Scotty the Kid's page, he does have
I thought I saw a list somewhere.
yeah,
I shared it
he
too.
has a list on there.
Oh, this is yours. Sorry. Here we go.
Yeah. So click on the first image and then scroll to the arrow there. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it has it listed in writing.
And then there
You
should
keep
be
going.
another.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
here
you
we go.
Los Angeles, New York, Chattanooga, Idaho, Huntington Beach, California. It goes on and on. It's amazing.
So you have to search his page for the flyers of exact locations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of scrolling through here just so people can see that. Wow, there's a lot.
Buffalo, New York.
Mhm.
I love Buffalo. I might go there.
You could go.
But great job, Scotty. I've never met him. I don't really know much about him, but I mean, this is pretty incredible for one guy to be putting this all together. So kudos to you, man.
Yeah, here's to Scotty.
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah, great job. And hopefully this, has a great impact. And going forward, this should happen more often, not just once a year, right?
Yeah.
This should be something that everyone can get behind.
Absolutely. And I think not protests are really good and effective, but we also need to continue to, take action, right? And put pressure on, policymakers. And so we have some things that people can do. It's not just going to be a protest. You go home and it's done, right?
Yeah.
We're doing weekly Zooms. You can subscribe to get to be a part of what we're doing. But yeah, like I said, we want to, meet with MPs, MPPs, and we've got a letter template that can be sent to MPs that'll be put on the website that we want harsher laws for people who commit
And longer sentencing.
longer sentencing.
Yeah.
No early release or bail. And there's an MP by the name of Fred Davies who is supporting this.
Yep.
So there's that. Background checks for private school staff, teachers, criminal background checks for them. So these are all things that we can take steps to put pressure. And if there's enough of us, then it will make a difference. When it becomes popular, then that's when real change can happen.
And all those things you mentioned, sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
They all seem like very valid and obvious things we shouldn't have to march to incite those changes. Like these politicians that are like, especially with all the Epstein files coming out and everything, even before all that, they should see that the penalties are clearly not strict enough, right?
What would be the penalties? Can you look at what the penalty would be, say, 1950 for these same charges, like common? Could we get any information on that? Like
Yeah,
19,
that'd be interesting.
and see what they're like. I imagine it's death penalty. I think so, right? Like, how do we in 75 years get to like death penalty for molesting a child or child abuse like that, and then now it's months, and they get 3 for 1 days in the prison, right? And then you get back in society within a handful of years.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that. I just thought maybe that it's just I like to look back and see through history, like how we've changed so much. And like we were talking on a live the other day, and I was explaining to my viewers that we've been taxed over 107 years, up 962.5% increase, right? So what's the end result, right? Like, how have we got this far in history that we're okay with getting taxed for 50% of our income, and then another 40 years it'll be 100% going back to the same numbers we've been used last 100 years, right?
Yeah, we'll pretty much be completely enslaved because
That's the
we're
goal.
working right now. The average Canadian is working approximately 6 months for free.
Yeah,
Just giving your money to the government and taxes.
So I'm just looking this up now, but I would guess that the laws were probably much different then, because like adults used to pound the shit out of their kids in the early the 50s, like 30s. Like, you think about, like, spanking was obviously okay.
Let's say like child murder, rape, and murder. Like,
okay,
what would that happen? Like, I mean, my dad beat the crap out of you.
In the early 1900s, children were largely viewed as their parents' property, right? So physical discipline was the norm, right? It was socially accepted. I remember people talking. My dad was telling me, this is obviously a long time ago, when they were at their friend's house, their parents' friends would spank them. Like, if they were, you know what I mean? Like, their parents' friends would discipline them if they were over there causing problems, right?
Takes the whole town to raise a kid, right? Like, it was even like that when I was younger. Like, if you did something bad at school, like, oh man, you get in trouble with the teacher. Like, my brothers were at the age where they get the strap. Like, it was okay to hit kids at school, right? I mean, I think there's that fine line, right?
So it does say that in the 1920s, 1950s, growing awareness, but slow reform is sort of in quotes. Child welfare agencies began forming. Courts slowly started recognizing extreme abuse cases. So I would imagine it went vastly unreported until the 1950s, 1960s, where things started to change based on what I'm reading here.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's 2026 now. I think it's about time, right?
We're due.
Yeah, no, for sure. And many countries have capital punishment as a penalty.
Yep.
So China has capital punishment.
How much do they reoffend after that happens?
It's a 1 in 4.
No, I meant after the capital punishment. It's 0, right? Yeah, it works every time, right?
0 in 4, right?
Yeah. So the zero chance of doing that crime again. So I'm down with that. I mean, if we could get there and get the policies made where you imagine how many people wouldn't even cross their mind. Because I don't understand how many people are trafficking kids. Like, there's people getting arrested all through Toronto. Like, that's what you do. You traffic kids. I knew one guy. He's like, I knew a guy I'm going to high school with, and he got charged with human trafficking. Like, people, that's just become a norm. Like you said before, they've normalized this.
Yeah.
And it needs to go the other way, where it's.
Yeah. I think another way of kind of, I don't know, normalizing or making people like a little bit like naive to the situation is, so under the criminal code, the legal offense is called human trafficking, but that includes all humans, adults and children. So when we see headlines like in the news, in the media, we see human trafficking. We don't see child trafficking because it's really that's not the legal, like the name for the legal offense. It's human trafficking, right? So, but as you scroll down these media articles and you read, it's person under the age of 18, luring someone under the age of 18. So it's child trafficking. So I think, calling it what it is too, is important, because I think that's a part of like desensitization as well.
Very much so. Yeah. And that's what they've done to us. Everyone's just go back to their phone. Well, people are getting kidnapped. That happened to me. I'm going to go play Roblox or whatever the next thing is on their phones, right?
Well, people have such a short attention span. So you just see the headline and then you move on.
15-second reels.
Right? Amber alerts, for example. Like I said, imagine Amber alerts kept going off on your phone of missing children, but they don't, because you need a license plate, you need a vehicle. There needs to be so there's certain criteria that needs to be met. One of those is that they're in imminent danger. Like, a 14-year-old may have like ran away from home one day and, then actually goes missing, and they call the police and they're like, well, is he really in imminent danger if this has happened before? Right. So like, that's one of, the criteria that needs to be met for the Amber Alert. So if we were seeing child trafficking in the headlines, Amber alerts kept going off on our phones, I think we would be like, whoa, maybe there really is a problem in our country.
Imagine they use the phones for actually good things like that. Like imagine that. Like so, they'll force they'll send you all the news, all your make you take your vaccines, but they wouldn't never put that in there, right? There's it's funny that you say that because I haven't had an Amber Alert and it feels like forever. It's been like a year or so, right? With all the missing children, it's crazy. I bet you that system cost us $1 billion to put in. But the only time they use it is like last time they did a warning I had for just a test.
Yeah, that was a few months ago. I remember that one because
But no kids. I haven't. It's been like over a year that I have any for a child's name on my warnings on my phone for Amber.
You got to question that. Between
very much so.
2004 and 2014, 5,000 children went missing in Canada. Do you recall 5,000 Amber Alerts on your
2, 3
phone
maybe, right?
at that time? Yeah. So our system is failing these children. It really is. And it is devastating. It's heartbreaking. And when you peel back all of these layers and really do the research and what's going on, where, like how lax these laws are, the Amber Alert system, the fact that the protections, these criminals being put back into these neighborhoods, schools that were funded by the government abusing children, and the list goes on and on and on. And this is why I hope with this march is that we're able to create a little bit of more awareness, and piggyback on this momentum, right?
Yeah.
That this exposure that's happening. And I think when people see us in the streets and they see our signs and they see the parents, I think we got to get to their hearts. We got to the minds are gone. We got to get to these people's hearts, and knowing that they've seen this now, like mainstream media is talking about it now. Like now they're going to be like, okay, I'm pissed. I'm angry. I'm sad. I want to see what, I can do about it. Right. Because we can sit here and we can be outraged. We can cry. We can, post on social media and talk about it. But what good is that going to do? That's not going to do anything. Right. Yeah. And if you choose not to do anything, then you're better off not knowing, because then you just have to sit with this and let it fester inside you. So let's release this. Right. And let's use this anger and towards
something good.
And
it would be nice to see some local politicians and MPs and people come out and support this and say, yeah, I agree with you. You know what I mean? And actually see this through and help the citizens. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people out. So hopefully they take note. And if they're not out there, at least go to bat for these people. And not just, say, oh, it's just another protest and move on with their lives and go to work on Monday, okay, with, not doing anything about it. So it's the politicians really need to take a look at themselves in the mirror and say, look, this is clearly an issue that we need to address.
Well, they can be to blame. Like that's the thing with being a politician. They were in charge. The government's been in charge for 100+ years. So they're accountable. That's whose fault this is. They're running the country.
Yeah.
They're a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
They are, right? Like, and like we're funding these systems, and they are definitely a huge part of the problem. And so.
All right. On that note, what do you want to leave with people knowing, apart from obviously come out on Saturday? Is there anything else you want people to know before we wrap this up? Anything else you want to say?
I just, I truly feel like the battle between good and evil has already been won. Good wins in the end. So I think people really need to, leave the fear at the door and lead with hope. And, don't feel like you don't have the ability to make a difference in this world, right? First, you have to believe that you do, and then you take action and do something. And everybody has that power to do that. So just, go with the hope.
Well, I want to say thank you for, being on here with us. Thanks for everything you're doing as well. Thanks all the stuff you've done over the last few years. Just always want to say thank you. I love people that stand up for kids and stand up for our rights. So thanks again for being here. And if we work hard and we get everyone out on Saturday, we can actually hopefully cancel them. right? So we can bring the cancellation to the opposing team. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was good seeing you again.
You too, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I look forward to seeing everybody Saturday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done.
And if you can't make it Saturday, there's a protest all over the world. So don't be lazy. Get off your ass and get up there and stand up for our kids.
Yeah. Awesome. See you.